We cringe at the sight and the sound of a big hit. Those crunching collisions get cheered by fans as one of the most exciting parts of the game. However, those massive blows are creating scary problems inside the brain.
Symptoms that I typically see are headache, confusion, dizziness, slurred speech at times, and difficulty, with the lighting, like on the football field, that really bothers them, noise as well, and then also balance problems.
Probably the best way it's ever been described to me is, I had an athlete one time tell me, he said, I just feel like I'm kind of watching TV, like there are things going on around me, but I'm not really a part of it, and everything's kind of going in slow motion. And so they have this feeling of fogginess.
More than 300,000 concussions are diagnosed in high school football each year. However, the CDC says more than 50% of concussions are never reported.
A younger athlete is not going to recover as quickly as an older athlete. Reason being is because that brain is still developing. So we have a developing brain that's now got some bleeding and some different things going on.
An athlete who suffered a concussion is 6 times more likely to have another. And with each concussion, the risk of long-term damage increases.
And they still have those symptoms and they get another one. It's called second impact syndrome, and that's very severe. And what happens is that second impact syndrome is just when an athlete receives a concussion and then receives another one within the time frame where the symptoms of the first concussion have not resolved. So then that can lead to very serious side effects and even death.
Both Melchior and Olson say education is the most important part in preventing concussions. And although concussions will never be completely avoidable, knowing the symptoms, changing habits, and wearing the best equipment are all steps towards lowering the levels of the invisible injury. For KX News, I'm Tia Streeter. Jocelyn Lamoureux plays with her heart and her head in the game, but for 6 weeks she was off the ice with headaches.
And I didn't have a mouth guard in, and I just remember my jaw pretty much clenching shut about as hard as I could, and my face went right into her shoulder. So I didn't get knocked over or anything, but I could definitely feel like my brains were spilling out of my ears a couple minutes after.
Stories and experiences like hers have become far too common.
It's kind of hard to put into words, I guess. Not knowing whether you're going to play at all again is pretty scary. I mean, you go month by month, and your head's still at idle, and you're still getting the headaches, and you're still having a tough time, reading a computer or watching TV. You definitely stay up.
Century quarterback Carson Wentz took a hit this season that left him sidelined for a week. All he remembers is dropping back in the pocket, but the big hit and the 6 points he added to the scoreboard several plays later are all a blur.
I mean, someone said I scored, and I've seen the highlight, and I actually still do not to this day remember that actually happening. And I mean, it was just kind of all a blur. And then looking back, it's kind of just a scary incident, I guess.
But there is plenty being done to try and lower the frequency of concussions. The North Dakota High School Activities Association has passed new guidelines for 2010-2011. An athlete suspected of having a concussion must be checked and cleared by medical personnel before returning to competition.
And we'll wait until the doctor clears them to come back to play. And again, I don't take them lightly. From a playing standpoint, having them, I know how you feel, and it's something that's really kind of frustrating. I'm sure a lot of young athletes aren't sure how to react to them as well.
With athletes often worried about playing time, concussions aren't always reported, which can cause headaches for coaches.
I may not know until after the game's over that kid even was banged up. If he doesn't say anything, or if he stays on the field, I can't see it. It's tough on a coach, and it's tough on a player also. So
coaches say they hope tighter guidelines will better protect athletes from the Pee-wees to the pros. For KX News, I'm Tia Streeter.